Hello everybody, this is Pooka and welcome to episode number 4 of Fake Archetype Friday, where we take popular decks and reinvent them with different versions of the Pokemon. And this time we're going old school to one of my favorite times, one of my favorite decks ever. That's going to be Dialga Garchomp. Now, in the past, this was SP Pokemon, Dialga, Dialga G, level X, and, Garchomp C, level X. But this is going to be different. This is going to be our new age Pokemon. So I'm basically rebuilding the deck with new modified versions of the Pokemon. So we'll take a look at Dialga EX. We're going to be revolving around Fast Forward, does 90, and for each Plasma Energy attached to this Pokemon, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Not quite as good as the old Dialga, but it's what we got to work with. And then, of course, for Garchomp, we have this Garchomp with Mach Cut and Dragon Blade. In the past, they were all basic Pokemon, but now we have to play the Stage 2 Pokemon. Boo. We have to actually evolve our Pokemon. Oh, man. And then I also had a lot of role players in the deck. We used to have Toxicroak G, which had a very similar attack. It had Poison Revenge, which did, I believe it was 20 plus 40, and then poisoned if one of your Pokemon was knocked out by damage. This just does straight up Revenge, 20 plus 70, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out by damage by an opponent's Pokemon on the previous turn. So we have this Toxicroak. We have my favorite little guy, Chatot. I used to use the one with Mimic all of the time to set up. Now we're going to use the Team Plasma one with Misinformation. And then I loved Drifblim FB, was one of my favorite cards, kind of a sweeper. So we're going to run this Drifblim with Shadow Steel as a sweeper instead. Try to steal the game at the end. So, well, literally Shadow Steel to win the game. Does 50 times the number of special energy cards in your opponent's discard pile. Then for the trainers, couldn't really do much fancy with that. The only clever thing I came up with was Scoop Up Cyclone resembles Poketurn quite a bit, where it just allowed you to scoop up your Pokemon. Of course, this is an Ace-Spec card, and it can be used on any Pokemon, but used to be, you could play 4 Poketurns, which would allow you to pick up one of your SP Pokemon, which was ridiculous and pretty broken. So we got Scoop Up Cyclone to resemble that. Otherwise, just standard stuff. Instead of Energy Gain, we're going to have Colress Machine to get our Plasma Energy onto Dialga EX. And that's pretty much it. Pretty standard supporters and trainers from there. We do have a Silver Bangle to help out. Then for the energy, we just have Blends, Fightings to attack with Garchomp. The Plasma Energy for Dialga EX. Let's see if we can get that up here. Yep, Plasma Energy. We have a double colorless just in case we need to attack with Dialga EX a little faster. And 1 Psychic Energy for the heck of it. Because, who knows, we might need to attack with Plentiful Placement, or Creepy Wind, or Poison Jab, or even Reverse Edge. Who knows? Alright, so that is the deck. Let's see it in action. I did play a game with it, and let's just jump right into it. So we got a game on Pokemon TCG Online against Donnie Darkrai. Probably a play on Donnie Darko. I like it, Donnie Darkrai. Alright, so we'll see what we're up against. So unlike the past, Dialga and Garchomp have no true synergy other than they are both dragon Pokemon, I guess. That's about it. In the past, we would load up a Dialga level X with tons of special metal energy. You would get 120 HP, reduces the damage with the special metal energy. You would have like Expert Belt, Snow Point Temple, all these things to make your gigantic Dialga survive. And then after it took a couple hits and it was running low on HP, you would go to your Garchomp level X, which had Healing Breath, which would heal all damage off of all of your SP Pokemon. And all of a sudden, your Dialga would be back to full health. So it was pretty ridiculous. Very difficult to knock out. And I love that deck a lot. I played it. I won, state championships, regional championships, top 4 at a national championship with that deck. I loved it. Played it for 2 years straight. But this deck is nowhere near as good as that deck was. That being said, we'll still try to find a way to deal with it. Alright, so right away we'll level ball for another Gibble. I think Garchomp's going to be our main attacker. Much like Dialga Garchomp, that was the case. A lot of people thought Dialga was the key to the deck, but honestly, I felt Garchomp was the focal point of the deck. Garchomp was always the better card in my opinion, so that's going to be pretty similar. We're going to attack with Garchomp more than anything, and we'll see if our role players and our Dialga can help out. So we do see an Ultra Ball. Not quite sure what that's going to go for. We do see this is a strange deck. It's a Virizion, Genesect, Lugia, Porygon Z deck? Huh? And we do see the Porygon 2 there. I guess there's a neat little combo with Genesect and Porygon Z. If you attach a Plasma Energy to a Genesect and Red Signal, then you can just move the Plasma Energy somewhere else, which can help out a lot with Lugia, but it seems like a lot of cards to add just to move your Plasma Energy around. I mean, you have to add an entire Porygon Z line, which is probably going to be at least 6 cards, probably more. But we'll see how my opponent manages to do all this wacky stuff. We do see a turn 2 Emerald Slash. This could be a problem. Now, let's see. I could Rare Candy the active into Garchomp and then Mock Cut for 90 with a Silver Bangle. But if I do that, it's just a Plasma Gale and goodbye Garchomp. So I don't want to see that happen. I don't want my Garchomp to go away since I don't have anything to work with. So we're just going to hold off. I also didn't have the energy to retreat and attack with the other one. I was just going to hold off and wait to Rare Candy into a Garchomp and see what was going to happen. But looks like I got hit by an N, which surprised me since I didn't play a supporter on the previous turn. But hey, I'll live with it, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I would have been better off just evolving into Garchomp, but who knows. I always kind of wait on those things. Sometimes it comes back to bite me. I like playing a little conservatively, but definitely was not the right thing to do there, I don't think. I probably just should have evolved. It's going to set me back a turn here, but we're not too far behind to the point where we can't win anymore. It's going to be weird, especially because I have no idea what's in my opponent's deck, but we'll see. We also see a Hurricane Tornadus, the one from Emerging Powers that got reprinted in Legendary Treasures. We don't see that ever anymore. It was good for a while in Zekrom, Tornadus, Pachirisu decks, and also Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus decks. But that is at least a year and a half ago by now. So we don't really see that at all, especially since it rotated out. But that's another story. But alright. So I'm just going to get the Gabite and Dragon Call for another Gibble. We're going to take this turn to kind of set up. Put the DCE onto Dialga EX. Just get that prepared to potentially fast forward. And we're going to pass. That's all we can do here. I can't even Tropical Beach because I have 7 cards. Whoops. Oh well. Also interesting that my opponent managed to fit Verbank and Lasers into that deck. So we have Porygon Z, Lugia, Virizion, Genesect, Tornadus. There's a switch. Verbank, Laser. What else? What else will we see in this crazy game? We see a Chorus for 8 cards. That's not something I want to see right now. And there's the Plasma Energy, and this is kind of the neat combo you get with Porygon Z. It allows you to move your Plasma Energy from one Pokemon to another as often as you'd like. So the energy goes on to Genesect for Red Signal, and then the Plasma Energy moves to Lugia EX, and he gets to knock out my Gabite and take 2 prizes, which is a real bummer. Not very cool, but we'll see. I'll just promote Gibble here. I can only just Skyla for a rare candy at this point. Get Garchomp in play. So we saw that turn really came back to bite me where I didn't rare candy into a Garchomp. But again, we're not going to give up. We're going to keep fighting, and we'll see what happens. Going to Skyla for the rare candy this turn. Just kind of check to see what is left in the deck. And we're going to rare candy into Garchomp. And attach. And we can just mock cut for 60. Kind of weak without Altaria. But, if you don't have Altaria and you don't have Silver Bangle, Garchomp is actually pretty darn weak. 60 for 1. Doesn't really cut it against EXs. But if we draw the Bangle, we can then Dragon Blade for 130 and finish off the Lugia. So that is an option. We see another Plasma Energy onto the Genesect. Oh boy. So that's going to be another red signal. And my opponent's just coming after the Dialga EX. Kind of surprising. Could have taken, 2 more prizes on the Drifloon. Taken that out. Then wouldn't have to worry about Shadow Steel later on. I believe my Drifloon's actually prized, which is unfortunate. That would have been nice to have. But anyway, yeah, surprising. But this actually does put me in quite a bit of a pickle. My opponent can hit me for, well, pretty much whatever. 120 with Plasma Gale works. 50, 50 probably doesn't work from Verizon EX. But the idea is just 1 Plasma Gale. I probably won't be able to knock out Lugia. And then another red signal next turn will knock out Dialga EX. And that'll win the game. 3 prize Plasma Gale to end the game. And you can see why Lugia EX is such a powerful card. Taking that extra prize with the overflow ability. This card has become very, very popular in city championships recently. It's won a ton of city championships with Lugia and Snorlax and Thundurus EX and Deoxys EX. It's definitely a deck to look out for. Lugia has just gotten better and better. But we'll see how this one goes. My opponent's taken a long time to decide here. This probably is a tricky decision. A retreat. With that laser, it actually makes an interesting decision. My opponent could retreat into Verizon EX, Emerald Slash, get 2 more energy in play. And then I would still have 120 HP left, which means just a Plasma Gale is a knockout, and I lose. That's it. So there's that option, or just a Plasma Gale, which would set me up. We do see a Chorus. Wow. So that's going to be another 7 cards. That's not good. But, a Plasma Gale here would hit me up to 130, and then it would just be an Emerald Slash knockout, and then, it's just 1 more knockout and I lose. So, not in a good spot. We are very, very far behind, 3 prizes down, and we're going to take another hit. This is about as bad as it can get in the Pokemon TCG. We have nothing to really speak for here. But who knows? We'll keep trying, keep trucking along. There's the Plasma Gale for 120. It's going to be not a knockout. If that was a knockout, I would lose. But we're going to attach the blend to Garchomp, and we can draw 1 of 2 cards here. Silver Bangle or Scoop Up Cyclone. Both will save me from a loss here. And we do draw the Scoop Up Cyclone. All right. So we can, quote, Pokey turn my Dialga. That brings me back. Scoop that up into my hand and just promote Garchomp. We don't even want to bench that Dialga again. Don't want the same thing to happen. And there's another mock cut for 60. Could have used Dragon Blade there, but would have had to discard 2 cards from my deck. And I don't think it would have really gotten me anywhere in terms of board position. I can't really hit the bench unless I use Drifloon's Wind Blast for 3 energy. But I don't really foresee myself being able to pull that off. So we're not even going to bother. So we'll see what happens right now. Another Plasma Energy goes down onto the Genesect. So if I did not pull off that Scoop Up Cyclone, I would have lost. Or at least a Silver Bangle to knock out the Lugia. I needed 1 of those 2 cards or else I would have lost right then and there. That would have been the game. Period. And my opponent says sorry for the lag, so he must be experiencing some lag issues. Pokemon TCG Online is notorious for that sometimes, but that's okay. We see a switch and an N, so I'll draw 6, and the opponent will draw a measly 3, and I didn't draw a very good 3. That is for certain. But now we'll probably see an Emerald Slash or a Tropical Beach, one of the two. Not really sure. A lot of things could happen here. My opponent will probably Tropical Beach. We did see the switch, though, into Virizion EX. I'm not really sure. This is kind of a weird spot. Okay, there is the Tropical Beach, though. Alright, so now I have some decisions to make. Unfortunately, that Drifloon has a 2 retreat cost, which is really lame. But we can go ahead with an N after putting the Silver Mangle onto the Garchomp. And we did not draw a DCE to retreat again. Drift Blim is prized, so that's not good. So we can probably go ahead and bench. And I'm probably going to have to Tropical Beach this turn. Toxicroak may be useful. Well, then again, probably not. I probably should not have benched that Croagunk, but I'm trying to draw a ton of cards with Tropical Beach. So we're actually going to double Colress Machine onto Dialga EX. We have another Plasma Energy in hand. So this could be a late game sweeper here with Fast Forward discarding my opponent's deck. I didn't really see this one coming, but that is a possibility at this point. And we can Super Rod into 2 Gibble and the Gabite. And then Tropical Beach for a full 7 cards. Alright, Tropical Beach. Pretty good card. Pretty good. But now I'm not really sure where we're going from here. The hand's not too great. We did get the 4th Plasma Energy for Fast Forward. We'll be able to discard 4 cards at once. There's a lot of energy in play. There's at least a Plasma Energy left, I believe. So we got that to worry about. Tough to know what's going to happen here, folks. Tough to know. All I know is we still have to take 6 prizes to win before my opponent takes 3. Or we can find a way to deck out Donnie Darkrai. Which one is it going to be? Can our fake Dialga Garchomp seal the deal? Make a big comeback? Or will the new age Porygon Z, Virizion, Genesect, Lugia, Tornadus destroy our fake archetype hopes and dreams? I'm not really sure. My opponent's deck is kind of strange because you can't do anything with the grass energy you have out there. Like, you can accelerate it, but you can't really move it. I guess Energy Switch can move it, though. So we can see an Energy Switch here. Alrighty. So we're going to see Plasma Energy move over to the Tornadus. And we saw an Energy Switch, so just an attachment. And my opponent will be able to Hurricane, but he has to burn a Plasma Energy in order to do so. So that is actually pretty big. That's the 4th Plasma Energy. Now my opponent could play Shadow Triad, and I would probably expect my opponent to do so. With the deck so heavily focused on Plasma Energy, you should probably run Shadow Triad, or at least like a Thunderous EX to get them back. But we're going to see a retreat into the Emerging Powers Tornadus. And it's actually going to Hurricane for a knockout. Guess that's not a bad 1-prize attacker these days when you can conserve energy as well. It attacks for all colorless energy. Kind of strange, but I guess it works here. And my opponent goes down to 2 prizes, which means that looming Lugia threat is definitely going to cause some problems. Again, though, my opponent is out of Plasma Energy, so maybe it's not the biggest deal in the world. I think in this situation I need to just go with Garchomp, Mock Cut, discard the Plasma Energy, and take away some of my opponent's options at this point. We'll attach the 4th Plasma onto Dialga EX, and honestly we can probably just Juniper away this hand. It's a ton of energy, but I really don't have any energy in the discard pile, so not a big deal. I did use Super Rod, though. That hurts. If I had Drift Bloom to clean up this game, it'd probably be a lot easier. Here is the Juniper. We're going to try to get another Gibble into play, but that did not quite work out. We're going to get the Toxic Croak into play, and we'll Chorus Machine just to get rid of that. No Plasma Energy left. And let's go ahead with a Mach Cut 60, and we get to discard one of those Plasma Energy, which is going to make it difficult for my opponent to attack on this turn, right? If my opponent plays, a switch, or if my opponent wants to attack with Genesect, my opponent's going to need an energy, and then either a switch or an energy switch. Attacking with Lugia is kind of worthless at this point. It won't knock out the Garchomp, unless, nope, there's nothing that can do it. I haven't taken any prizes, so Iris wouldn't even do it. We do see the grass go on to Genesect, and we shall see what's going to happen here. If my opponent has to retreat, the Plasma Energy goes away, and I'm fine with that. That means Lugia can't attack anymore. But, we see a computer search. What's it going to go for? I am holding my breath, folks. This could go for all sorts of things. None of them good for us. Now, if my opponent played a Shadow Triad, I would lose here. Computer search for Shadow Triad. Get the Plasma Energy back. Red Signal. Bring out Toxicroak, and then it's just a Plasma Gale, and I lose, but we see an N. So I guess there's no Shadow Triad in the deck. And I guess that's not too unheard of, because my opponent plays Laser, Verbank, Tool Scrapper, Porygon Z, Energy Switch, etc., etc., etc. There's another switch. Uh-oh. That means I'm going to get hit by a red signal here. Not good, not good, not good. I'll get hit for 100 and then 20 to the bench. Ouch. So there's the Megalo Cannon for 100, 20 to the bench. And things are not looking good here. Now I have two options at this point. Number one, Mach Cut, discard that Plasma Energy on the Genesect, and take away the option for Plasma Gale altogether. Now if that's the case, another energy and I'm probably done for. Megalo Cannon would knock out the Garchomp, and then, I wouldn't be able to knock out Genesect with Fast Forward. But, discarding the energy is probably the way to go. But you know what? It's Fake Archetype Friday. Let's roll with this Dialga EX. It's got 4 Plasma on it. The better play would honestly be to discard the Plasma Energy, but we're just going to put the game on the line right here. My opponent has 0 cards. We're going to discard 4 of them. If my opponent gets an energy, I lose. Because he can just swap an energy onto the Lugia, and then Megalo Cannon hit Dialga, and then Gibble for 20, and then everything can be knocked out by Plasma Gale. But if my opponent does not hit an energy here, we're good. He cannot Megalo Cannon, so he cannot set up Dialga for a knockout. I'm going to continue to fast forward with Dialga, keep discarding cards, and hopefully we can discard enough to get a victory here. There's 11 left. So we'll probably need to use fast forward 2 or 3 more times to win. My opponent has burned a ton of resources. I'm discarding 4 every turn. Dialga's got a ton of HP. So we'll see if we can somehow finish this game off. It looked like we were left for dead. We had nothing left. And we got a Toxicroak, a Garchomp, and a Dialga EX. This is one strange deck. But hey, better than nothing, I guess. We got a shot, and that's all I could ask for. Now, I don't know what that one card is. My opponent still has not played anything. This is probably a difficult decision. Do you just Megalo Cannon, and then Genesect gets knocked out by Fast Forward? Or, do you retreat to something? Looks like my opponent is retreating to Lugia, which is kind of strange. He's going to Plasma Gale for 120, leaving with just 40 HP remaining. Now that is a big deal. Now I can be knocked out by all sorts of things, like a Virizion EX, Emerald Slashing. But we're just going to keep rolling. My opponent only has 1 card. We're going to discard 4 from the deck. Fast forward, knock out the Lugia. Get rid of an energy switch. Ooh. This is getting close. Can we finish it off? I mean, there's only a few cards left. Take 2 prizes. Hey, what's up, Driftblim? Nice of you to join us. 6 cards to go. Another Lugia comes down. And is there anything my opponent can do anymore? See, I could end here, force my opponent to draw 1 extra card, and then a fast forward would leave him with 0 at the beginning of the turn. But you know what? It's probably safer to just fast forward for 90, getting rid of another energy switch. There's only 1 card left now, and is Dialga EX really going to win this? Really going to come back with the sweep at the end to discard all the cards in a very narrow victory? Is that going to happen? And yes! We see my opponent use Tropical Beach to end the turn, and that is it. Dialga Garchomp, Fake Archetype Friday, takes another victory. That is ridiculous. Dialga Chomp lives again, and I couldn't be happier. Just shed a single tear in memory of one of my favorite decks of all time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have more suggestions for fake archetypes, please let me know down in the comments. This can be, current versions of the decks, old archetypes that we can remake with new Pokemon, anything you have an idea for. As long as it was a popular archetype at some point, we can make it here on Fake Archetype Friday and see what happens. So, alright, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll definitely have some more for you soon. This is Pooka from the Top Cut, and I will see you guys next time.